Hey guys, it's Ryan G. Wright with DoHardMoney.com. Excited to be with you today. Today's question is a Just Ask Ryan question of the day, which is how much money should you spend in flipping a house? Fantastic question. Thanks for asking it. If you've got a question you'd like to have me answer, type it in the comments below and I will answer that question in doing a video just like this one. So how much should you spend on flipping a house? With this question, I'm not going to take the purchase price of the house into consideration. So we're just going to be talking about actually the flip process of the property. So one of the big mistakes a lot of people make is they underestimate the amount of repairs costs, and they also don't even think about the other costs. So one of the things that you need to take in consideration is taxes. You're going to be paying property taxes for the time that you have ownership of the property. Another one is utilities. You're going to have gas, you're going to have water, you're going to have sewer. You're also going to have electric for the time that you own the property. You're going to have to cool the property and heat the property to make sure pipes don't burst, and also make sure it's a good temperature for your workers that are doing the work and for potential home buyers that are coming through. You're also going to have insurance on the property. You're also going to have HOA fees on the property. You're going to have a myriad of other costs depending upon the property that you've got to take into consideration that most people don't even think about. That's why one of the things that I did early on is I built what's called an advanced deal analysis, because most people didn't think about commissions, they didn't think about title fees to sell the property and to buy the property, and they didn't think about the taxes, and they didn't think about transfer taxes, and they didn't think about property taxes, and they didn't think about sewer and water and garbage and those types of things, utilities. And so our advanced deal analysis puts all that together, so as you put it out, put the information in there, it'll give you a really good estimate. And it is an estimate, but it'll give you a really good estimate as to what to be expecting on cost. Those costs can get really expensive and can make the difference between you making money and not, between doing a deal and not doing a deal. So it's really important those take into consideration. But if you're already taking those into consideration, which by the way, our members have access to our advanced deal analysis, we call it the ADA, they have access to that if you're a member. If you're not, check us out over at DoHardMoney.com. We have tools, we have training, we have softwares in helping and money to help real estate investors succeed. So if you take all that into consideration, now what we're talking about is the rehab itself. And so what I want to make sure is two things. One, if you do it right, you can get your lender to come up with some or all of your rehab money. We do that all the time where we're coming up with the rehab money on a rehab, so you don't have to come out of pocket with that money on your own, or if you do, it's very little. The other thing we help people do is what's called credit card finance, where they get lines of credit from credit cards, and they actually use that money as part of the rehab, so they're not having to come out of pocket, and lots of times they're getting an introductory rate, but that's something also you should check out. But let's say all that's taken into consideration. Now it comes down to putting a good project plan together. What you're going to want to do before you purchase the property is meet with general contractors, put a budget together. The first thing that happens is a scope of work. So you walk the property, you get on the same page of the scope of work. And we've got an amazing form of scope of work you're going to want to check out. You can find it over at DoHardMoney.com. Then what you do is you outline everything, and then you get pricing from the general contractor, item by item by item, not a lump sum. Then what you're going to want to do is go item by item with a general contractor to get pricing. A big mistake that happens quite frequently is a general contractor comes in and says, I'll do the house for $30,000 or $20,000 or $50,000, and they write on the back of a napkin, and you go, I made that mistake 20 years ago, early on in my career. I'm not going to make that mistake again. And if you look at any professionals, this needs to be broken down item by item. And so that's one of the things that we require, and it saves so many headaches and so much problems. I also recommend you have two general contractors. You get pricing from two general contractors, and the scope of work is the same, but the pricing is developed by them, and you want to make sure that you're getting solid pricing from them. From there, you have some confidence, because if one general contractor messes up, you've got another one in the wings to go that's already seen the property and you already have pricing from. Because lots of times people make a mistake of just choosing the cheapest contractor, but that cheapest contractor either no-shows and flakes out, or they have cost overruns where they say, I need more money, I need more money. that becomes a serious problem if you got a loan because there's no more money in the coffer. What is in there is what the amount is. And one of the things we do to help out with that is we have project managers, and our project managers do a virtual walkthrough where they walk through the property with a contractor and with our member or borrower. And what they do is put the scope of work together. They then have a pricing meeting with the general contractor to come up with what all the pricing is going to be, and then they can make sure that we've got pricing that's accurate, and even meet with a second general contractor to have another pricing meeting before a loan actually closes, so everything's ready to go in addition to having an agreement. Now the question is, who's going to pay for all the rehab? Again, done right, your loan's going to include all or most of that, and you can come to the table with some or use like a credit card financing or business partner. I've got a whole video on the 17 ways to get 100% financing where you don't have to come up with any money for the purchase or the rehab. I will link that in the comment below, put it on the screen here, but 17 ways to get 100% financing goes through all different ways to get 100% financing so you don't have to come up with your own money. So check that out. The other thing to keep in mind is things do happen, problems do happen. So you need to have a little bit of access to some money for the incidentals, for the things that happen that you weren't planning on. So you have a little of emergency fund. That doesn't necessarily need to be cash. This could be on a credit card or line of credit or 401k or something else. But if you needed $5,000 because a pipe burst or something, you may want to take that into consideration up front. So you have a little bit of spending money if something happens. But in the end, you can do a deal without having to put your own money into it. I find most people getting started need about $5,000 to get into the game. Between marketing and some softwares and some tools and those types of things can get you into the game. The more money you have, the easier it is. The less money you have, the more manpower and work you're gonna have to put in. But with motivation, determination, you can make that as well. So in the end, how much you spend on flipping the house is gonna come down to those elements. What you pay for the property, the other costs that people don't think about, the amount that you spend in rehab and making sure that that is secured, and this is gonna make it successful for you in doing your fix and flips. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up key. It means a lot to me and tells me I'm doing a great job. I really appreciate it. I look at those regularly. Again, if you've got a question you'd like to have me answered, type it in the comments below. I also have a really great blog post called How Much Money I Should Offer on an Investment Property, meaning we talked about that earlier. How much should you be buying these properties for? This video goes into details on how much you should make those offers for. You're gonna wanna check out that, that blog post. I will link it in the comments below so you can check that one out. Otherwise, make it a very profitable day, and bye for now.